NCNC. They're not existing now. It has to be existing now. Yes, it has to be existing. I said oldest existing political party. SDP. Let's not take this too long because I have a short time. It's actually the PRP, People's Redemption Party, formed by Amin Khan in 1978. It's still existing, yeah. So let's continue. So I said the basis of a political, the health of a democracy is measured by the knowledge of its people. So you have all these conversations, and these are things, and I'll say we've chosen not to care about the country. One of the things that hurts me with Nigerians is that we love to say Nigeria is not working. I agree. It's not working as it should. But how Nigerian are you? You're a Nigerian and you don't bother about your constitution. You're a Nigerian and you don't care who goes into office. Yet you want to enjoy the things that people have worked for, that you get in other countries. How do you now want to take to our? And we don't ask ourselves these questions too much. So the purpose of this is to demystify the role of local legislature in the democratic structure, and of course equip everyone. I thought some councillors would be here and I would have had a great conversation, but it seems none of them. I don't councillors elected from wards within the LGA. It is always presided by a leader of the house elected by the councillors. That means their tenure is basically typically 3 years, but it may vary by state. As Dr. Joe Abba rightly pointed yesterday, their term is dictated by the governor or the commissioner of local government affairs, not the constitution. It's which is a variable in the constitution or an error in the constitution. Next slide. So what are the core functions of local legislature? Lawmaking. Now, these laws that they make must not contradict the constitution or the state laws. But you know, Nigeria, we always ask, how laws still concern us? Let me try and break a brief situation on how laws concern me. There was a time in Nigeria when the act for the NERC, as the Electricity Regulatory Commission, didn't allow generation of electricity more than megawatts. If you generated more than 1 megawatt, you must pass it back to the mainstream to be distributed across Nigeria. Now, ordinarily altering that 1 to 10 has allowed states now generate their own electricity without passing it back to the national grid. That's how important lawmaking is. And it can be important if we break it down to simple things. But as usual, we do not care. And this is not only the people in elected office. Come on, we have speakers that have not read the constitution or know their state laws. We have councillors that don't. Let's not go there. I'll say too many things. So the next job is oversight. Now that's monitoring the local legislature. Now most of us wonder what oversight will mean. Big English. Let me break it down. Now then they look budgets. Meaning local government chairman no supposed to pass budgets without them looking at it or without them approving it. But these days local government budget is passed by governors. It's true now. Or if you want to say your state is different, it's not. And that's the problem with this. And you know, when you look at the Nigerian problem, the critical question is, as long as the people do not know, politicians can do and undo. Don't allow anybody to deceive you. Politicians are not that smart. They cannot break the laws that much. The only reason they can break the laws is because you do not know the law. Or you do not understand how the system works. So they'll come and tell you X, X, Y, 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 X. You now say, that's so it be. So, like I think I said this yesterday, the problem in Nigeria is that we have a political culture outside the laws and forming the policies that we have in Nigeria. We have a political culture. And within that political culture, there are funny things. We believe a small party cannot win an election. Who told you that? It has been proved many times wrong. But you believe that. So you expect anybody that is coming to come and ask you that he wants your mandate in office. The person should come with Jeep, 90 essays. That's when people think he's worth it. If I come today and I'm wearing slippers and I say Alpha, and I really care about the people, you've seen me care, you've seen me work, you've seen me do things. Because I did not come with which Jeep should I use? Land Cruiser, so that's the ones politicians like. You will not vote for me. That's what we are. So don't come here and say Nigeria is bad. You are the one making it bad first. Back to this thing. So of course, the budget approval, there's approval and amendment of. Then representation. Their job is to represent you. And not represent you meaning, okay, I represent, I'm trying to think of a place. Okay, let me use, I represent Ilaje. I know that one. I stay on the road, so I know that one. I represent Ilaje. And that's all they do. Representation is actually listening to you and taking what you want back to the committee and sitting down with other councillors and local government chairmen and making a decision for you. Representation is not that you have somebody there. You can as well have a stick there since they don't talk to you. And that's the truth about it. And then they're also supposed to provide checks and balances on ensuring accountability of executive actions. The situation happened in what states? Ogun State. And it was a chairman that refused to remit money back to the state government. I didn't call the governor's name before everybody started speaking out. And then there was dilly-dally. But you see, politicians are smart. They know how to use the real situation when it's warranted. In recent time, that's the first time councillors have taken out a local government chairman. They have the power. But they didn't take him out for the right reasons. They took him out because he refused to remit a part of his budget to the Commissioner of Local Governments. But guess what? They activated the councillors' real action. That means the politicians actually know the law. So guess why everything happens? Well, me and you don't care. That's why it happens. Next slide. That's why it happens. Now, what councillors can do and what they cannot. Of course, they can make laws on sanitation, local markets, motor parks, which is jurisdiction as guaranteed by the Constitution of Nigeria. They can impeach a non-performing LG chairperson. You didn't need that fracas that you did in Ali Mosho. Where that thing happened? Ali Mosho? You didn't need that fracas now. You don't want to say it because I'm talking about Lagos State. People think you are so advanced that you are not. So impeach a non-performing LG with process. With process, remember, in brackets, with process. I did not say just carry the chairman out of his office or burn his car. Please, I do not support such things. They also should be able to, or should be, and I know I'm using should, that's because it doesn't happen, approve projects and budgets within the LGA. What they cannot do is make laws that contradict state or federal laws, control state or national resources, and intervene in police or national security matters. But there's, like Dr. Joaba said yesterday, this is a contradiction of the Constitution, because again, somewhere in the Constitution, it clearly states that security is vested in the local government. So if they can't intervene in police matters, what is the security that is invested in them? But that's a conversation for the Constitution. Now, next slide. So what are the challenges of local legislative councils? The first one would be political interfaith actors, which is allowed by us. Lack of autonomy, often under the influence of state assemblies. How that one happens, I don't even understand, because they're totally separate. It's like the National Assembly interfering in Lagos State House of Assembly. Oh, sorry, oops. National Assembly just interfered in the House of Assembly. I actually say that. But let's continue for the conversation. So, no public awareness of councillors' rules. Now, this is critical. We don't know councillors' rules. If we do not know, how do we demand they should be accountable to do what they do? Then, very poor remuneration and capacity. Councillors are basically, I don't want to use a bad word, errand boys of every other political unit. And now there's a difference between appointed and executive. So councillors are errand boys to appointed and executive. But they are appointed and elected. But those are elected. Meaning, a commissioner is not supposed to be able to send the councillor. He's an elected representative. But we know our commissioners. A lot of us do it. They don't give you small SC to be really because your SC is inside governor's office. AC don't blow you small. Then you know when governor cuts his head. That's all. You are not doing anything else. You're not going to be pulling an elected person in the position. That is outright disrespect to the Nigerian flag and constitution if you do not know. But we've created our political culture now. So we will live with it. So, next slide please. Grassroots legislation matters. It's of course the closest people, as we said. I always say this, that councillors are the first handshake of democracy people. Because they are in charge of the world. The world is the smallest. So if there's no handshake between you, how can the president even affect your life? Because there has to, so if, as long as local government does not work, democracy cannot work in Nigeria. And that's the truth. You change president, in short, you should elect one of the prophets of old, wake him up and bring him. Cannot solve Nigeria's problem without the local government. A lot of people shout state police. I was very happy when I looked at Dr. Joaba's slide yesterday and I saw local government police because something I've championed. We see it in movies. You see one sheriff in a local town going to go. Then why don't you think that's the way it should work? But no, governors have deceived us. And we are stooges of governors, whether we like it or not. So governors will tell you, state police, to empower the emperors. But this is not about governors today. So it also builds future political leaders. Now, councillors they are not supposed to be people that have helped us snatch ballot box for 10 years. Then we decide to bless them with something. Councillors, if you go to the UK, I have a niece, Teli Lawal, you can Google her. She became a councillor in the UK. She was councillor of, I think, Thamested. No, it was Mabel that was councillor of Thamested. I can't remember. She became a councillor at 16. She was still at university. And she held it till 21 and dropped it and has done quite a lot of work in the Conservative Party in the UK. And a lot of others. Councillors, for those coming in, it's their first, it's supposed to be free to, it has no age restrictions. When Nigeria is to reward the people that snatch ballot box, slap the House of Rep that they wanted to remove, or helped throw out a local government chairman one day, so that people will reward with councillorship. Now, they also tackle immediate community needs, that's sanitation, roads, and markets. And these are immediate. But all of us do not care. Market people don't even know this next time. So I'd like to call to action. First, we must reorient our thinking. The grassroots legislature is not inferior. It is foundational, and these people do not have a choice but to know the laws that operate in which way they are. We're all to blame for this. What kind of Nigeria do you want to hand to your children? I was born into a Nigeria, even though people like Dr. Joab and my elders enjoyed more than I did, but at least water was coming out. LEA was still people in my set that went to LEA, and I myself that went to a private school, you cannot differentiate our English. But now, I don't need to talk about it. We also should encourage youth participation in world politics. If you notice something with our young people, I don't know whether it's the name, in Nigeria we like titles, and we haven't done anything. I don't know whether it's the name honorable that excites us. The first young person, what do you want to run for? And because of what I do, I meet a lot of them. What do you want to run for? House of Rep. Yeah. Wait, calm down now, guys. Calm down some more. We love the name honorable. But what's so honorable about the political positions we aspire for? We want to be called honorable so that we can be dishonorable to Nigerian citizens. That's the truth now. Don't you want to carry G-class and pour water on your old schoolmates so that they'll know you're a big boy? That's what we do now. But anyway, we also need to promote policy knowledge over popularity. Hey, it's popular, it's popular. And do you know what? So, I didn't tell you, the other day we were talking about running for office, me and a few others. I've run for office, by the way. It's not a big deal. But we're talking about running for office, considering, Dr. Joab, sorry sir, I'm mentioning your name too much. Dr. Joaba's set doesn't want to hand over to my set. The day they did governor when they were 40, they don't want to hand over to our whole set. We'll take it by force. We are making noise, so we haven't done anything. But, you know, we're having this conversation, and do you know what one of my friends said? He said, Kule, he's running in Kogi, and he said, Kule, I need a scandal. Do you know he's right? Let's leave the Barack Obama ideology we have in Nigeria. He's right, he needs a scandal. Well, in the history of Kogi, you actually need a scandal. I didn't cut anybody's table, but you need a scandal. Some people have climbed tree, some people have come down from tree, some people have put cast on their neck in EFCC. That's what makes us popular in Nigeria. A scandal. We laugh, but it's the truth. Say, come, do you know, you need a scandal. Once you have the scandal, you are popular to people. They'll say, hey, we are voting because it's popular. Because once you have the scandal, then all you need to do is win the primaries of the two parties Nigerians love the most. Okay, sorry, they become 4 actually. So I won't mention the gangster 4, and all of them rig election. I don't think anyone is better than the other. So the gangster 4. Once you win one of the tickets of the gangster 4 and you have a scandal, you have won in politics. Is it a lie? No. So anyway, last slide. My final thoughts is that if we are able to build from the base, the top will not collapse. The reason the top collapses is because we do not build from the base. We do not build the foundation up. We are the only country in the world where we think that electing a president is like when we are building a house. We'll first install the chandeliers before we do the foundation. Not very intelligent democratically. Then we need to make the local legislature matter again. And this is key. I preach this the most because it's my work. Political literacy must begin where government begins, at the grassroots. I'd like to thank everyone for the time you've taken to listen to me. Thank you.
A round of applause once again for Mr. Niggsa. Whilst he was talking, I said to myself, I cannot recap anything he has said, because Kunle Lawal has said what only Kunle Lawal can say. Thank you very much for being you and for being true to the core. But then I think it is thought-provoking enough for us to go back and pick up 1 or 2 points from what he has mentioned and work with it so that the grassroots governance can have a better touch of the people with the people, and then it will ultimately become for the people. Right about now, we'd like to take short messages from our sponsors, or partners rather. We'd like to take a word from No Takaful. Can we put our hands together for them as they come up for a very short presentation? No Takaful, please. After No Takaful, Otto should please stand by.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to appreciate every speaker that have spoken there. Mr. Kunle Lawal, well done, sir. And I so much appreciate this innovation. We were part of this program last year. And Kabiyesi, I can remember we were at your palace sometimes last year too. Thank you for the good reception. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Messi, I want to appreciate you for this platform. Well done, well done, well done. It's very a great privilege to be part of this, and I hope we'll continue to collaborate. My name is Medina Taliemi, Head Retail No Takaful Insurance Limited, and we were licensed in 2016. We started our operations in 2017 as a composite insurance company, meaning we do both general and family business. We identify life insurance as family. And our main goal is to let people know about ethical insurance. we are alternative to conventional insurance, and that's what we do. In No Takaful, we, unlike what we have in the conventional insurance, what we do is actually risk sharing. In the conventional insurance column, what we have there is risk transfer. You are able to transfer your risk to the insurance company by way of paying premiums. And when there are losses or there are any event of loss, the insurance comes to indemnify you against that loss. But what we do here is, what we do in No Takaful is to share our risks within ourselves. And one of our uniqueness is that we have brought a solution to people saying, I have been paying premiums over the years, and what happens? I do not make claims and I don't get anything back. In No Takaful, there's something we call surplus distribution, and that is if you do not make claim in a particular insurance year, you could get some cash back as way of surplus distribution. And this is a program we have always carried out every year. There is this program, Africa Takaful Conference and Surplus Distribution. It is being done every year here in Oriental. That's where we have the program. We are preparing for this year's one later this year. So this is where we appreciate and give out to most of our clients that do not make claims in a particular insurance year. So, and they can be eligible to getting surplus distribution, which is some kind of cash back from the contributions they have paid to us to share their rates with us. And I know Takaful, we are very fair in our operations. We are very keen about satisfying our customers. So we have several products for you, both savings, you insuring your businesses, insuring your houses. The idea is just to let's secure our assets. Let's secure our assets. Let's plan for the future. Let's plan for the future of our children. In fact, for the hope of the masses, I know we are empowering the non-privileges. After empowering these people, let's find a way of putting a protection in place to guide these things, so that when any event of loss occur, they do not go back to that particular point where we have helped them out from. So this morning I do not want to take most of our times. Our head office is at Bagada Expressway. Our stand is out there for more information and clarifications on all our products, and for a better understanding on the surplus distribution that I have just explained. You can please feel free to meet with us at either during the tea break or at a free time. We'll be looking forward to welcome you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'd like to say that your office is just directly in front of my house. I just see Non Takaful. In fact, my children have turned it to a song. Non Takaful, Non Takaful, Non Takaful. But thank you so much for coming to enlighten us as to what Non Takaful is all about. We really appreciate that. Next, we would like to have Auto Geek on the podium to also enlighten us as to what their products and services are all about. A round of applause for the representative from Auto Geek.
Good morning, everybody. Standing on the existing protocol, I would like to give a brief introduction about AutoGig. It's an automobile company, and we provide a lot of automobile services to the general public, ranging from automobile sales and after sales. So we do most B2B, but regardless, we still do with other clients as well. I'm going to concentrate more on our training. We provide automobile training, which is certified by the German government. Thereby, we train people to become technicians. A lot of people have this misconception that it's a gender thing, belongs to the male category, which is very wrong. Women can also be technicians. Women cannot, when I say technician, not necessarily mechanic. As a woman, you can be a service advisor. As a woman, you can be a fleet manager. When you train as a technician, take it that it's not those, I'm not talking about the roadside mechanics. Those ones are doing a good job, but at the same time, the structure is underdeveloped. So when I'm talking about you starting up your own company, you starting up your own business, you can be a consultant to other automobile companies around the world. You can even use it to japa. You can get your certificate. I've seen women who are truck drivers. Go abroad, you see a lot of people are truck drivers and you will not believe it. You think it's just a male thing. No, women are also doing it. And I'm encouraging women to also take charge and stay in front. It's not always, now they say women first or ladies first. It's not only when you're working, you also have to do the doing as well. So we train people to become technicians. You get your certifications and you can use it to work. We also produce spare parts. We have oil filters. We also provide do brake pads. We are also partners with Honda and Toyota, so we own their OEM products. So you can come to our stand. We have those products for exhibitions. You can ask questions and the verification for all the questions you're asking. Also, we are partnered with PCNGI for CNG conversion. A lot of people still don't understand what CNG is all about. That's compressed natural gas. Not all, the same way we have electric vehicles, we also have cars running on CNG, whereby your cars are not only powered by petrol, you can also use CNG. So let me give you a little enlightenment on what CNG is about. Now that is compressed natural gas. These are natural resources we have in the country. For example, if something happens, there's a war that we cannot export our fuel and get it refined and returned into the country, what are we going to rely on? Other countries have moved to electric vehicles, but Nigeria, we're still playing with petrol. So petrol is like our ultimate thing, but we have to move from there. People are going further. Let's also migrate. So this CNG was really showcased by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, under PCNGI, going from different states to introduce to people. A lot of cars are running on CNG now. Even your buses, when you look at your buses, there's some, you can see some cylinder tanks under. These are CNG tanks. You can have it in car. There's some Ubers running on CNG. It is very safe. It is very, very safe. And okay, let me give you an example. Let me give you a rough estimate. If your car is running on, let's say petrol, 70,000 naira in a week, with CNG, that's just less than 3,000 naira. But we don't know, it's just the conversion that's the problem. You need to look for an accredited center, convert your cars to CNG, and keep running, and everything is going on smooth. We have centers where they refuel, we have NIPCO, we have other fuel stations where you can actually refuel your CNG tanks. So we also do the training. We train people how to convert. Don't go to a roadside mechanic to convert your cars. We've heard issues of blow up in Edo State. Those people who went to use your LPRs, your normal cylinder at home, to fuel CNG, it's going to blow up because the pressure is very high. So that is why you need a CNG tank in your vehicle, and that is very safe. It's not like your house where if you have it, you can smell it. With CNG, it goes to the air, it disperses very, very quick. You cannot have any fire outbreak from it. It is very safe. So I'm encouraging people to also convert to cars. And if you're using trucks, there's what they call a hybrid. Hybrid trucks are those who use, let's say, 40% of your diesel and 40% of your CNG. Regardless that you have CNG in your car, doesn't mean, oh, when your gas is finished, it shuts down. It automatically switches back to fuel. You can refuel and continue your journey. Most people who are applying, people who are going Benin, Ibadan, they are always on CNG. You might not know. But we Nigerians, we tend to keep things because we don't want to reduce the cost of transportation. So I urge people, do not just rely 100% on fuel. You can also use CNG. So that's a brief summary. So if you have If you want to learn to be a technician, if you want to learn to be an advisor, if you want to learn about the automobile, I think AutoGig is just the way for you. There are certifications, like I said, endorsed by the German government. We are registered under Korean. So if we train you, we automatically put you under Korean. You'll be a NIEC member. And that gives you a platform to grow. They have the membership and they'll keep guiding you as you progress. Thank you very much for listening. I do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the presentation and for the enlightenment. Well, please, ma, let me quickly say that the intention is not to position our youth to japa. However, it is to reposition them for great opportunities. I think that sounds like it. Thank you so much for all that you do. We truly appreciate you. Maybe I will have to approach you because also your office is sort of close to my house. So maybe, I don't look at me like that. My office is close to everybody's house. Even comrades have said my office is close. Don't ask me, Mommy, it's not true. It's a joke because I'm here. And on that note, I would actually like to bring her up to the podium. Please join me as I welcome Comrade Fumi Sesi for her own goodwill message. That is the Lagos State Chapter Chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress. A round of applause for her as she comes up stage.
Our agenda, our conference.
Thank you very much. Kábíyèsí o, kádépẹ́ lórí kí bàtà pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀. The organizer of this event, I want to congratulate you for yet another opportunity to bring us here again to come and learn, interact, and discuss about the future of the grassroots governance in Nigeria. Permit me to stand on the already established protocol as I bring warm greetings from the good working class, all the workers in Lagos State under the aegis of Nigeria Labour Congress. We appreciate the opportunity given to us to be in this room to learn, to discuss about grassroots governance. But to whom much is given, much is also expected. We expected to see more of the politicians or the political class, the so to say leaders, position themselves for leadership positions and role to be here. Nobody is an island of knowledge, but you grow when you bring yourself to a position to learn, unlearn, and relearn. There is no knowledge that is lost when you don't seem to look like you know it all, but you also expand the scope and the horizon of the knowledge that you grab here and there. It will help one way or the other. But having said that, we know that this year's theme is very apt, and it will help in the development of our grassroots, building the capacity, driving the sustainability, a new era for grassroots leadership and development. How do we build the capacity? Our leaders, they need to know and understand and grab the better idea on how they can build capacity. So many only struggle for positions. When it is time again for elections, you will see struggles here and there. people will grab the neck of others, even when they know that they don't have much to offer. Don't let me say they don't have anything. There's nobody that could not be useful in one way or the other. But when they know that they don't really have much to offer, but just because they want to occupy the exalted seats, and that is why they need to come and learn in an environment like this. We need to do so much on our leaders, most especially those who lead in the grassroots, because they need to do so much on developing their skills and their knowledge. Many they engage themselves totally from the people of the grassroots. When they are voted into office, somebody that's supposed to be the chairman in Ojo local government, I'm just making an example, we now relocate to start living in Victoria Island. And yet, you are the leader of those people in that grassroots. How will you understand their problems? How will you understand their issues? You are supposed to be in that community of those people that elected you into office, so that once you live amongst them, their problems become your problems. Their issues become your issues. Gone are the days when in the past, the leaders don't go around and about with security. They go around and about with people in those communities. In the evening after work, they sit together. They play together, they eat, they wine, they dine. And in the evening, there will be tales by moonlight. They talk about stories and tales, and then they continue their lives like that. They go to river, they go to everywhere together. But these days, they have also, disengaged themselves from the people. Their doors are no longer open, and most of the time, they are not always accessible for those grassroots people who voted them into office. Are you providing any leadership? We need to build their capacity. They need to understand the reason why they are there. They are not there for themselves, but they are there to provide a quality leadership for those in that grassroots. They also need to improve on the processes and procedures. Many of them don't even understand the processes, and that is why they continue to make mistakes, and not only an ordinary mistake, costly mistakes that could be avoidable if they find themselves in a room like this, where they will learn the rudiments of the reasons if they don't really understand the nitty-gritty of the duties ahead of them. They need to optimize the workflow, efficient operations, and they incorporate new systems that will help the peculiarity of that grassroots where they have been voted to lead and provide leadership. The sustainable development of that particular grassroots, the peculiarity of that particular area is different. There are differences from peculiarity from one place to the other, and they need to understand and grasp the resources and the organizational infrastructural capacity is also part of it. The infrastructure differs from one place to the other, from one grassroots to the other. So if they are not closer to the people, if they are not amongst the people, how will they understand the needs, the infrastructural needs of their people? How will they understand? Is it proper for a particular state where they don't even have traffic to start using the hard-earned money of that state to build bridges? Does it make sense? It will have been better if they can now harness the potentialities and build factories where they can train the locals to start producing, even if it's factory, fashion factory or whatever. Look at the peculiarity and the culture of the people around you, the grassroots. And we have also seen about driving the sustainability. How do we drive the sustainability? All those things are embedded here. When we look at this board, we look at everything that will make the grassroots and the leadership to sustain the no poverty. They have to build the grassroots to a level. They build the people, the economic viability of the grassroots, so that the people will not start coming to them to come and start begging for a source of living. They have to. We look at zero hunger. It's also part of it. Teach me how to catch fish. Don't give me fish. The leaders in our environment, they need to do so much in the grassroots. They need to empower those people within the grassroots. Like the place where I came from Badagry. If you want to empower our people, train them more on how to catch fish and buy them nets, boats. Tell them how to, do more on providing protein for Nigerians, and they will not go hunger. It will be also a source of making livelihood for themselves. Gender equality. It has just happened that some of the ladies that APC in Lagos, they said, yes, let's give opportunity to ladies. And they said, yes, on consensus for councillorship position, they have allocated this slot. But lo and behold, some leaders, they now have to start removing them and replacing them, even after APC in Lagos State has approved and has signed. And this is bringing the notion that me and you will know that there will not be a gender equality in this country. The patriarchal system is still here, and they don't want to go. They don't want it to go no sooner than now. The Beijing affirmation still states that 33% of women should be allowed in government. But what you see all the time, men allow the women to breathe. You are pressing their neck. Another one is equality education. If we fail to educate the grassroots, the people you don't educate, they will continue to dump their refuse on the waterway, the gutters. They will block the flow of water. They will do open defecation. They will do so much more. But education is very important. Orientation is very important. Communication is key. And don't keep mute. When you are in the grassroots, leaders, please affect the lives of those in the grassroots, affect their lives in a positive way. And also lead by example. Do as you say, so that other people will also do as you are leading. But once you are leading and you are not leading right, you are taking one way, and yet you don't want every other person to do that. They will do it because you are leading by wrong examples. Let us lead by right examples. Industries, innovation, and infrastructure. If there are no infrastructure, definitely there can be no economic improvement and viability. So our leaders, they should stop the corruption. The corruption of wanting to get everything to yourself. Selfishness, personal interest, above the commonwealth interest of everyone. If today you have 5 houses, you cannot sleep in more than one room. If you have 5 cars, you cannot drive more than 1 car at a time. And for you, it will even become a burdensome for you to start warming all your cars every day. Let us think about vanity upon vanity. Everything is vanity. If you can eat 3 times a day, and yet in your community, in the grassroots, people go and sleep with hunger, then you yourself, don't close your 2 eyes all the time. It could be all the time for a thief, but one day for the owner. Once you are doing it, the people will revolt sometimes, someday. Decent work and economic growth. It is not good for you to, as a leader, you have been voted into office. You now think about it, poverty has left your family. You started taking your children to study abroad. All your family, you relocated and moved them abroad. Then so you care less about the grassroots that made you who you are. that try to also give you life so that you can give to others. But the ladder that was given to you to climb up, you remove the ladder. So that the children of those in that grassroots and those community, they cannot now use that ladder, that same ladder you used to climb up, you remove it. Someday, sometime, stay where you are up there. Don't think of coming down again, because if you want to come down, that same ladder that you remove, nobody will give it to you to come down. You will fall down. Let me just, because of time, look at all this. These are indices to the sustainability. And I just pray that those who need to come and learn, they will key into this program. It's once in a year. And I am so happy that I can see our young leaders. Please, take good examples. As you are growing up, let love lead. And let good and positive reasons lead in your heart. Don't look at what some of the leaders are doing. They are not doing it right. Don't copy their own example. Make the difference in our world. Because the leaders have failed you in one way or the other. You understand? When they were growing up, everything, most of the things were free. They went to school, they give them food free, they give them education, scholarship, this, that. But let us continue to hope and pray that Nigeria shall be well. It shall be well with Nigeria. With this administration, we pray that God will direct Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and all the people in government to do the right thing for the grassroots and for Nigerians. Thank you for having us.
A better round of applause for Comrade Fumi Sisi. Thank you so much, man. Thank you, man. It's like women supporting women from that corner. Auntie Raliat and Dr. Yomi, I don't understand. All the people that have been coming and saying, say, even me, you even threw me well done from there. Since yesterday, when she just said, well done. That's women supporting women. And I'm sure you heard what she has said. Because once again, the comrade has said what only the comrade can say. Yeah, so if you quote her, she's the one you are quoting. But let me also say, whilst making reference to Badagry and then providing nets for fishing, I would also want to add that the World Population is also it is also that we see how technology can also improve on fishery. So that at the end of the day, they will use technology to get more fish, preserve more fish, and serve the nation more fish. I hope that sounds well. Yeah. I'm now one of you. Thank you. On that note, I would like to quickly introduce the next address to us, which is coming from a woman, and further buttresses what I just mentioned now, who also was with us yesterday, and she sat with us on.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. Please, I'm going to use one of my favorite phrases when I speak in Nigeria, which is, please allow me to rest on existing protocol. If you'll be so kind. Thank you very much. And it was wonderful being here yesterday. I really enjoyed the conversation. So looking forward to today as well. Please, you can help me with the next slide. I've got some animation in this slide, so I'll just be telling you to click. So quickly, to introduce myself, you can click 2 more times. So my name is Ashley Emmanuel, co-founder, COO of a company called Semicolon. Previously, I was CEO of an organization called EFINA that promotes financial inclusion in Nigeria. So it's actually a pleasure to be here and hear somebody present about Takaful, because when I was with EFINA, we actually worked with NICOM to create enabling regulations for non-interest or Islamic finance, including Takaful. So it's lovely after some years to start to see these products enter the market and drive more inclusion. If you click again, so you're very welcome to call me Ashley or Oluwakemi, depending on your preference, or Itunu. Next slide, please. So what is Semicolon? We created Semicolon to address youth unemployment and drive digital transformation in Nigeria and Africa. And we do a few things. We build tech talent. So we have a program training software engineers called Techpreneurship Program. We help those talent find the right quality tech talent or local affordable service providers to build their technology. And we also work quite a bit with startups because we realize that this is the engine of job creation. So on the next slide, please. And just a little bit more about us. I won't spend time here, but we just welcomed our 26th cohort of techpreneurs this week in semicolon. We've graduated over 550 who are now in very good quality, high earning jobs. We've worked with hundreds of startups, etc. So next slide, please. So today, there are a few things I've been asked to speak about, and I'm going to start with opportunities for youth. So this question, how do we create a Nigeria in which all of our youth have the opportunity to thrive? And I really enjoyed the comrade's remarks immediately prior, because I think she is exactly right, that we are only as prosperous as our least prosperous citizen, right? So until all of our youth are thriving or have the opportunity to thrive, we are not thriving. Next slide, please. I like this excerpt from our national youth policy, which is that youth should have equal opportunities to realize their dreams and aspirations. Next slide, please. But we know that right now youth are facing challenges, right? We have high rates of unemployment, cost of living. It seems every day you go to the market and egg is more. Even Gary stuff, the price don't increase, right? We don't have a lot of opportunities to good quality, high earning careers for all of our youth, especially those from low income backgrounds. And then some people will complain about the rate of japa, but we know that many people can't even japa, even if they want to, right? So next slide, please. But we know that there are tremendous opportunities. By 2040, half of the world's working age population will be in Africa. We know that the largest nation in Africa by population is Nigeria. So the future global workforce is increasingly shifting here. We have the opportunity to be providing services, including technology services, to the world, as all of the other countries, even India, if you look at the fertility rate in India today, it's less than 2.1, which means that the population will start to shrink if that trend continues. Or in Nigeria, I think it's 5 point something. So we are going to increasingly, the global workforce is shifting here. We also have the opportunity, in prior industrial revolutions, Africans have predominantly been consumers. And I think that this came up yesterday, that we are sort of net importing as a nation in Nigeria. We have the opportunity to become producers, to create the solutions. And this can be physical, but increasingly it can be technology that the rest of the world will consume. So next slide, please. So I believe that all of us, especially those in government, but those of us who are business leaders, community leaders as well, have the mandate to create a covenant with our youth. That if they work hard and act ethically, there is an opportunity for them to focus on many things, but one in particular is building that human capital, right? What is our asset? It's our people. This will help us build our economies, this will help us solve our problems, and then create that opportunity path for youth. Next slide, please. But I know you're going to say, actually, how many, can I see a show of hands, how many people here currently work for a local government? Don't be shy, I won't blame you. Okay, are there any who are aspiring to work for local government? Okay, some. So when we have these conversations, we tend to hear government representatives at all levels express frustration about the challenges that are faced, right? Lack of resources. We don't have enough budget. Sometimes we don't have the talent within government, right, that we would ideally want to have. The tenure in office, our terms in office are short compared to the time it takes to achieve results, especially when we're talking about investing in people, right? This is a 20-year plus return cycle. As we heard yesterday, Dr. Abba and others, I think, really nicely highlighted the fact that for local government in particular, there's complexity around the mandate, around the authority, around the budget. So there are challenges. I completely understand that. But if we go to the next slide, please. I would say that let's shift our mindsets a bit. Click again, please. Click. From one of scarcity, and click again. So researchers have studied people in experiments and found that when we feel we don't have enough of something, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough resources, we don't have enough time, we actually make worse decisions for ourselves, objectively worse decisions. And this has been proven time and time again. Please click again. This happens for individuals. It also happens for organizations, companies that are too focused on scarcity and losing and competition will make worse decisions, but same too for government. So if you click again, like 2 or 3 more times, we want to shift to more of an abundance mindset. Click, please. So we want to think more broadly and strategically, and really open our minds around how can we unlock value. So if you click again, please, down. You just, like 3 more times. 2 more times. Good, so we can shift our mindsets from thinking about, if we train people, the best ones are just going to leave anyway. No, we want to think about, how do we create so much talent that some will leave and it's fine? And they even help support the local ecosystem after they go, right? We don't have enough budget, then it's how do we partner? How do we train? Sometimes when we have a scarcity mindset, we see the magnitude of need and we just rush. We need to train so many people so fast, and we rush into a lot of low quality programming that's not strategic. So if you click again, we want to think more about, okay, we do realize an imperative for speed, but how do we position ourselves for long-term success? Next slide, please. So we want to avoid this. I know the podium is here, so we might not be able to see, but in the first box, somebody's saying the good news is we're moving very fast, everybody claps. The bad news, we're heading in the wrong direction. I don't know about you, but I've definitely seen teams that have made this mistake, right? They're working really hard and they're trying their best, but when you look at the result, we do not see strategic outcomes. So we want to avoid that. Just click a few more times. Oh, that's fine. So what do we need to do, especially within government, but across all of our work, private sector, public sector? We need to be deliberate in identifying and articulating our priority goals. We know we cannot do everything, so it takes some work and some consultation, but we identify those. Then we create very clear strategies to achieve those. In policy and development space, sometimes use something called a theory of change. Happy to talk more about what that is later on. But there are ways that we can be very strategic in our planning. And then we want to measure our progress and learn. We never get it fully right the first time, but we do need to capture some data to understand what's really happening and be objective about it, right? We're not trying to measure just for positive storytelling. We're measuring for learning as well. Next slide, please. So if you click down a little bit. So let me tell a story here. So let's imagine that we realize that there's a tremendous global need for mangoes, right? And there's clear opportunity because in Nigeria we have the right climate, we have farmers, we can grow mangoes. Right? So we say, okay, great, strategic objective is to capture this market share. We're going to grow mangoes. It's going to drive prosperity in our country. So click again. So we start to sit down and strategize, and we realize there are some things that we can do to support farmers in growing more mangoes, and we have a clear plan. And then somebody says, wait, but when you plant a mango tree, before it bears fruit, it's going to be some years. I'm not a farmer, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so. Somebody here I'm sure knows, but it's going to be some years. And then they say, term of office is only 4 years. Let's imagine, right? So we're not going to have mangoes before we leave office, before the next election. Please click again. So let's plant bananas, right? But we don't need bananas. There's enough bananas. What happens if we create programs planting bananas? The programs may be executed very well. Lots of bananas are, fertilizer is given, farmland is cleared, bananas are grown. Bananas go into the market. Bananas spoil. Nobody wants bananas. Your banana price crashes. So the ones who were farming before, now they're suffering because you flooded the market with government-funded bananas, right? So this is an example. We know that sometimes there will be imperatives, there will be challenges, there will be levers, but we need to keep ourselves focused on the strategic goals, the mangoes, right? We need to, I would suggest, we need to give ourselves the imperative to demonstrate some results while we are in the role we're in, to sustain some of the results that started before us, before we entered, that were worthwhile. But we also need to plant some trees whose shade we will never sit under, right? That's a mark of success. I will tell maybe one more story. I don't think I have it in this slide before I go on. But we said that government, we often recognize that there's a challenge of resource constraints, right? Even though, I spoke with somebody earlier this morning about, okay, if you were to engage local government, what would you want? He said they should give me money. And of course, for the population, sometimes look like government is rich, but we know that our budgets don't really reach everything that needs to be done. So there's a resource constraint. I'll tell a story. There was a Stanford professor who put her, who grouped her class into teams. And she gave them $5 and 2 hours. And she said the goal is to make as much money as possible. Right? So all of the teams went out, they did different things. Some of the teams went to buy used items and tried to resell them for a higher value. Some of the teams tried to invest in different ways and quickly create more value. The team that made the most money, they made $650 from $5. So tremendous multiple in terms of return. The team that made the most money, you know what they did? They forgot about the $5. So they forgot about being resource constrained, that they were working with a small budget. They stepped back and they said, okay, we don't have a lot of money, but what do we have? And how can we use that as effectively as possible? And they realized the most valuable thing that they had was their presentation time. And so they sold to a company that wanted to sell to Stanford graduate students. That they said, okay, you can come, you can use our presentation slot, you can pitch your company's services, and you'll pay us for that advertising. And they made $650. So likewise for government, we want to think about what do we have? We can have convening power. We can have networks. There are other ways that we can work together effectively. I have seen some representatives in our current government at federal and state levels model this well. And they have launched and run programs without spending budget, pretty much. But they've launched large-scale programs because they were able to convene stakeholders. Next slide, please. So very quickly, I will just talk a little bit about digital skills. I won't go deep into it. But this, coming back to this mandate around creating opportunity for youth to thrive, one of the key things we need to do is look at our digital skills. And what we see is that we can think of it like a pyramid. So all of our citizens need to be digitally literate, right? They know how to use devices, they know how to be safe. Many people increasingly need to use digital skills across any profession. So if you are an accountant, if you are a lawyer, etc., you may have some technical skills that are not digital, but you need to use technology to do your work as effectively as possible. But then we also need some people who are dedicated IT professionals. These are your software engineers, these are your people who can create technology, and we need some entrepreneurs who are going to use technology to create jobs. Next slide, please. So I'll just give some examples. Within Semicolon, we have started building that pool of IT professionals and potential technology entrepreneurs. And I won't tell all the stories here, but what we've seen again and again is that it's very possible to take young Nigerians who may have done everything that they were told to do. They went to university, they worked hard, but they graduated, could not find a job. Or they could not find a good quality job. Maybe they're braiding hair, somebody was playing organ in a church, but sleeping in the security house of the church, right? Once we take a chance on them and the right opportunity in the right format, they can become software engineers. They can work for OpenAI. We have a few people who are actually working there, the company that created ChatGPT. Companies like Digicore, InterSwitch, many of the banks, etc. So if you go to the next slide, please. You can skip this one. This is just a few more stories. I'll speak a little bit about that top of that pyramid, because we also need to create we need to also create job creators, and these are our entrepreneurs, right? Tega and Efe, who are the two men in this photo, the woman in the middle is one of their employees. They actually came through Semicolon's techpreneurship program, and then they wanted to go the entrepreneurship route. They saw some challenges in the mobility space, that if you want to take a bus interstate, you have to go to bus park. Let me not even pretend I do that, because I don't, right? but we know that moving from where our building is in Yaba, Lagos, for somebody to then go home, maybe River State, it's quite a long journey with many steps. There's a lot of cash involved, there's not transparency, etc. So they saw a clear opportunity to digitize, which benefits the people traveling, but it also opens opportunities for all of the bus companies and other companies. So they created this company, Nomadic Pod. We supported them through Semicolon Ventures, through some training. And now they're early in their journey, but they've had thousands of customers, they've saved money, they've saved stress for customers, for transportation providers. This is an example where government can support by saying, okay, let's provide information. Maybe Ministry of Transportation can help them provide access or meetings, etc. So government can enable, but we want to create the space for these innovators to start and scale their businesses on their own. So on the next slide, please, I believe this is my last. What would to leave us with? So for government, how can government work? We said we have challenges, but what can we do? Number one, there are a lot of partners who are available to provide support. So I'm currently running a company, but when government at federal or state level has called us to help develop strategies, to help them design programs, we do it. They don't pay us, we just do it on a volunteer basis if we believe that they are serious about implementing that program. I used to work for a donor-funded organization, led a donor-funded organization. I also know international donors are happy to put support behind initiatives But what they are what they look for is the impact, right? Partners will train, partners will deliver projects. So call us, we'll come. I would say that convene stakeholders. We have had probably 4 or 5 different commissioners for innovation and science and technology from different states in Nigeria visit our training facility in Yaba, in Semicolon's training facility. We have never seen our local government representatives unless there's somebody who's coming to collect money for something, right? If we need a permit. So if they call us, we will come. If there's a town hall, we will come. If the local government representatives even say, look, we know we want to create more jobs for youth, please, private sector, come and help us, and let's have a meeting and co-create a strategy. We will come, we will do it. The federal minister, Bosun Tijani, did that. I attended. We helped create a strategy. And private sector is now helping him implement it, right? So call us, we'll come. I would say partner with youth as well. Every day I have the privilege of working with young people who recognize all the problems around them and are eager to solve them. So with a little bit of support, we can convene that. We don't need a lot of budget. You can do it with no budget. I them a semicolon. But let's also support our youth. Sometimes it's just giving them information, giving them encouragement. And then last, as I mentioned, let's also be learning together. So track key information, especially when we launch programs. This is how we also build trust and engagement with our communities. I'm always happy if we can have our community build dashboards, help you set up those systems. But let's be engaging and communicating with our stakeholders together. All right, thank you very much. I'll conclude here. It's been a pleasure.
A better round of applause for Ms. Ashley Oluwakemi Emmanuel. Now, can we appreciate her much more? Thank you. Should you have questions or conversations you would like to have with her, I'm sure she will still be around for a bit, so we can approach her and take the conversation further. We need to move right now, and at this point we'll be having a panel session where we'll be having a conversation around disability issues. And this conversation that I know is for them because it is also important that we bring up issues concerning those with special abilities in the course of grassroots conversations. And so today, please join me as I welcome to the podium Mr. Tolani Ojuri. A round of applause for him as he was part of our conversation yesterday whilst we were talking about grassroots development and the issues that come with it. Also, I'd like to welcome Barrister Lukman Bolarinwa on the stage as well. We have Elizabeth Bolarinwa as part of the panel. We have Ms. Azota Khalil as part of the panel. And trust me, to anchor is not me. So please join me as I welcome Ms. Christiana Abo to anchor this. A round of applause for them as they come off stage, please. Like I said, the vein of this conversation is about disability matters and the issues that come with it. Please enjoy this session. Over to you, Uncle.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christiana, so I'll be anchoring this panel session for persons with disability. So, my first question is, what are the issues surrounding persons with disability in our society? Mr. Talani. Okay. Barrister.
Good afternoon, everybody, and we are sitting, Abby. Well, let me sit on the existing protocol. But doing that, let's acknowledge the presence of our royal father here, Kabiyesi, sir. So, jump to the question asked, issues affecting persons with disability in the society is discrimination and social stigmatization. That is the issues affect. Anything you can think of negatively that means discrimination to you are the issues affecting persons with disability. The persons with disability are not accepted, they are not recognized, and they are not given an opportunity to participate actively in the society. So when it comes to job, they are discriminated against. When it comes to access to education, they don't have access to the same level. I don't want to say quality now. Let me say the same level of education as their able counterparts. When it comes to F2, they don't have access to F. And when it comes to social inclusion, cultural participation, and even enjoyment, they don't have equal access as you all are seated have in the society. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Tolani, can you say something also?
Yes, just to build on two major issues, two thematic areas that he mentioned, health and education. Access to health, even those two areas, provisions were made for them in the Lagos Special People's Law. For persons with disability, let's make it clear here, the blind, the deaf, persons with albinism, persons with intellectual disability. Just imagine those set of people going to the hospital, going to government hospitals. Some hospitals don't have sign language interpreters, some hospitals don't have ramps. Ramp is the most common thing we all relate to. Oh, we have ramps, we don't. It goes beyond that. It goes, now imagine you taking a child with intellectual disability to the hospital. You have the medical personnel can't even relate with the children. We're not even talking about general hospitals now, we're talking about the primary healthcare centers. And in the terms of education, most persons with disability don't even have access to education like that. Let me use myself as an example. I have very low vision, and I went to a public primary school. For a very long time, they just felt, oh, this boy doesn't just want to read, he's not interested in reading. And my problem was low vision. So, and now imagine having a blind student in that same class, a deaf student in my set. So those two areas are really major areas affecting persons with disability. Yeah, we have a lot more, but those two major areas, health and education, are things that we have to deal with.
So thank you very much. And the next one is, how do you think we can tackle all these issues surrounding persons with disability?
Thank you very much once again. One of the ways I think we can tackle these issues that we're having, like Mr. Tonaniland said, we have physical barriers. So one of these issues we're having is physical barriers, and the way to tackle them is to make public infrastructures, hospitals, schools, tertiary, an enabling environment for PWDs to be able to have access to, to these facilities, especially for mobility impairment or sensory disability, so that they'll be able to participate fully in the society. Then we have attitudinal barriers. These, there's a stereotype that the PWDs cannot, there's an assumption that PWDs and individuals that PWDs cannot really, participate or are not capable of leadership roles. These biases are not true. If we make government or governance accessible for PWDs, trust me, we can do our own quota and make contributions for persons, for the community as well. We also have policies and structural, issues that we have. These are barriers that if our policies are made in a way that we have the Lagos State Special People's Law, if they are fully implemented, of course, PWDs will have full participation in local government in our local government, communities. We can also become leaders even in our communities and become very active as well. Thank you.
Yeah, so if you have anything, how can we tackle it? You can also say something on that.
Yes, we can tackle it in so many ways. One, by making everybody to be aware of what is making us not to participate actively. And with this, if those around us as well, just as we are here now, that we have talked about what is really bothering us, we spread it around to others that are not here. With that, there will be more awareness to what is really affecting us. As we, person with albinism, we have low vision. Seeing very well is our problem. So if we can help one another, as in help us, we that are person with albinism, to if you can assist us in whatever we say, oh, I can't do this, can you help me to do that? And you assist me, I don't think there is any issue there. But if in a situation whereby, oh, I can't see this thing, the next thing is that, oh, I feel rerun now. That's what they will say, instead of assisting them to do it. So all these provoking words really makes us not to mingle with people. So it really makes us to get annoyed sometimes, but you think that, oh, you will think that, oh, they get annoyed easily, don't go near them, do that, don't do that, don't do, these people, they kind of not sociable like that. But if you try as much as possible to come closer to us and try to know what is affecting us, and you try to support us with our disability, I think the world will be a beautiful place for us every day and every time.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, pertaining to what she just said about albinism, sorry. Sorry, I'm incorrect, but I want to say something about persons with mustache also. You see, there's this stigmatization for us as a person that we're less human because we're just of this height. Treat us with love. God created all of us. God said His word, He said, let us make man in our own image. No one has seen God. So we are the image of God. Please, treat us, accept us. Thank you. So that brought me to the last question here, which is, how is the inclusion of persons with disability in politics, Mr. Tolani?
Inclusion of persons with disability in politics. I'm aware that some political parties, we had a series of meetings with INEC in the past 2-3 years. I've been in rooms with INEC officials and political parties, their representatives, and some political parties leave, I think, a slot, or some leave a slot for persons with disability, some exempt them from paying for the forms. There are different means in which different political parties try to accommodate persons with disability. And we have quite a number of people, in Lagos that I know. There's a councillor in Solo, and I think one or two other people. For me, that's not enough. And to a very large extent, it's more like we need to do more from our part. I was having a conversation with my brother yesterday that from the disability community itself, we need to increase our capacity. The world is not doing us a favor. No, that's not the way to go around it. We live here, we're not running anywhere. When people talk about Japa, for some of us, it's a no, we die here. So it's all about to increase the capacity. Some agencies tried they were asking people who are interested in politics to come forward so that they can train them. No, everybody is a collective thing. Either you're interested or not. Everybody line up. So you know what exactly is going on. It's not about me being interested, because you live in a particular neighborhood, you have a councillor, that councillor is overseeing some works, that councillor is possibly the chairman. So either you like it or not, the decisions the chairman makes affect us. So we need to push from our own end. Whatever the law says, whatever the policy says, we meet them halfway. I can't imagine myself going for my party meeting and I go consistently, and when it's time to pick up funds or when it's time to get something done, they now tell me, well, maybe we just allow you. No. When you get involved, and once you are involved, and let me put it here, that persons with disability are fantastic people. God has a way of compensating us with one thing or the other. So I will keep saying, you're not doing us a favor. Inclusion it goes both ways. We have to really get our people more, not just those who are interested in politics. We all have to be. And the political process does not really favor us. Even where you go, the party secretariat is not accessible. The meetings, when you go for some meetings, some don't even have sign language interpreters. Some, they have some displays that are large enough for people with low vision. So all those things, the more involved we are, and we'll keep pressing this on the political, that persons with disabilities too are human. Just like she said, nobody has seen God. We are the image of God. Thank you.
Sorry, I make justice to that too.
Well, before that, I will want to add something to the second question, that how can we solve the problem relating to the person with disability. One thing that we want us to do is let's disabuse our mind as to the word disability. If it is possible, let's expunge it from our mind. Because like I tell people, either we like it or not, we always need ourselves. And whether you like it or not, God has not created a perfect person. And if you're a Christian or a Muslim, there has always been that particular model in the Bible. Either we like it or not, we all know the nature of Moses. When God said, come and lead my people out of Egypt, what did he say? He called himself blah blah, which by our own dictionary and by our own law in the world today, if Moses were to be alive, they would call him what? A person with disability. But God said, okay, I will appointed somebody. God did not say, because you cannot speak fluently, I will not make you the leader or assign that role to you. So even by God's example, we've seen that clarity that either we like it or not, is either we are all persons with disability or we are all persons without disability. The moment you are seeing some people as persons with disability, invariably you will see yourself as being in a vantage position, and you will not accord that person the same level of regard as others as you are according yourself. So because what you see first is disability. Like, you know, when we are talking about the barriers, attitudinal barrier, social barrier, environmental barrier. So the only thing that can drive those inclusion is that change of attitude, positive change of attitude. The moment you see that, I went to the restroom there, I saw their urinary system there. Even somebody on wheelchair can make use of it. That's what they call universal design for inclusion. But here, I want to climb, I will just tell Mr. Tolani, is there a ramp here? But if I to be on the wheelchair now, they will say it's because of my disability, that's why I cannot climb up here. But they won't know that it's because of the failure of this place to design this all in a way that the disability can, that's why I cannot climb up. So we should see that disability as the failure of the society to accommodate everybody. Once everybody is being accommodated in one way or the other, there will be no issue of disability, because disability is no longer a medical definition again. It's a social and environmental definition that is causing disability these days. So the issue of politics, well, as far as I'm concerned, when we are still struggling to even be heard in the society, then can we talk about highly competitive, monetized positions? Well, when it comes to elections, where they give up power to come and vote, but whether the voting value assessment is another thing entirely, whether somebody that is on wheelchair that we need to trek, or project that we need to trek long distance where there are no movement during the elections, will be seen to have been given opportunity to participate in the election. That is left for all of us to judge. Because I'm very sure that even within these particular premises we have, they won't locate more than one polling booth here. But just imagine if somebody was to walk from the first gate or down to this place, how convenient would that be? Coupled with the issue of insecurity during the election. But when it comes to political parties too, they will tell you, PWD, don't do what? Don't pay for forms, nomination forms. But they know that they don't want you to waste your money. Yes, because deep inside them, they are only making that mouth now, because at the end of the day, they won't allow you. Why don't they say, okay, well, anybody that picks any nomination form for a particular post, that person gets automatic nomination. But they still want you to go and compete. And at the end of the day, they know that, that's why you know that, how would a person, a blind man will not be our leader? A blind man will not be leading a blind man. That when we see them, when they want to include us, and the more you do to any political, they want to recognize the answer, okay, well, Mr. Bola, you've done well, come and be essay on disability, blah, blah, because they know I can only lead my people. They think I can only lead my people. Even if I'm even the best luminary in that particular space. Instead, they will create a space for us. But, so they will say our bread is better than not. We are taking it. And somebody talked about women not quite long ago. The little space they are giving, the comrade, they are still are you not still managing it? Yeah, they are still managing it. But we believe that in one way or the other, we all get there. Like I tell people, somebody said, take care of rule of law, so the rule of law can do what? Take care of you. If you pray to grow old, you want to be 70, 80, 90, and you are not making provision for disability inclusion, please, you are already sending yourself to a early grave. Because either you like it or not, old age, you cannot say you'll be active as when you're 30s, 20s, when you are 70, 80 now. Your ears, your eyes, I can bet with you. They say Mr. Bala is the only blind person in this house. But for some of you here, if you remove your glasses, well, maybe I won't be better than you. So let all of us change of attitude, change of mind. Don't see disability. That you see yourself as being with disability, or you see everybody as a person without disability, so that we can be what our brothers keeper. Thank you
very much. I think with this, we bring justice to this panel section. So thank you very much for having us. And again, please accept us. We are like you. Thank you.
A better round of applause for, I don't call them persons with disability, I call them with special ability. And this is even directed to the chairman of the association, Mr. Tolani. I think your own voice is my disability. Because the way that voice sounds, the baritone alone, sounds more like the bass that can bring down this entire building. One of the best voices I've heard so far. Thank you so much. Once again, a round of applause for them for coming out to speak their minds. And I'm sure we have gotten the best of it. And we're also making adjustments in our minds as well. And so when we see them react in certain ways, we should now know why. And not label them as people who are naturally angry. It is just a way of reacting to what the society is dishing at them. But I'm sure it's getting better. Right about now, I would like to take another word from one of our partners. Please, if I have the representative from Craig Powell, can you come up the podium to give us the short presentation that you have? Representation from Craig Powell, please. Craig Powell. Somebody coming from Craig Powell now. All right. Since the world wouldn't permit vacuum, I would like to use this opportunity to ask that Mr. Michael Aberoja, I hope I got that correctly, should please step up the podium and make the presentation on building financial capacity to drive grassroots change. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Michael as he comes up now. Sorry, we'll come back later. Someone else is coming. Thank you. Mr. Michael, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to stand on existing protocols. I can see our royal father has taken an exit. I would have loved to greet him specially. Okay, so we'll be talking about building financial capacity to drive grassroots development. I'll start by a song came to my mind, and I would like to sing it. It's a song by Heavy D and the Boys, Now That We Found Love. What are we gonna do with it? I'm sure we all know that song. At least a good number of us know that song. Okay, so some days ago, I attended an event, and as I was driving out, the security man opened the gate and then walked up to me and said, "Baba, show me love." And I was wondering, like, really? How do I show the security man love? And the person beside me just tapped me. Say, find him something, find him something. I said, oh, that's how to show love. And I dipped my hand into my pocket, brought out what he was expecting, and boom, love was. Next slide, please. So, at the end of my presentation, you will understand why I am talking about show me love. Okay, so one of the things that comes to people's mind these days when we talk about local government is the fact that autonomy has been, quote unquote, granted financially. So people tend to tell themselves that, okay, there should be a lot more money available to the local government administration now. Hence, I would say that there is a lot of expectation from the populace. And then another thing is the fact that people begin to ask more questions. What is the money being used for? what is the money being used for? So we will need to tell ourselves what is the benefit or the purpose of resource. So I'll say this, that resources are meant to achieve goals, satisfy needs, and also to provide support. So in the light of quote and unquote increased funding, it means that the electorate is looking towards the local government administration for what? Support, increased support, to achieve better goals, and also to satisfy the needs. Now, we move forward. So how is the local government supposed to utilize the so-called funds that is now available to them? So I'll be talking on the few things that you can do as a local government administrator with what is available to you resource-wise to impact your people, so that by the time you are taking a bow from office, once you are looking at office, please listen carefully. Yeah. We use money to look for money, right? And that's one of the things I picked up when we were being told about the impact and influence of tech. So the thing is, there's this belief that the local government, there's no money, there's no money, there's no money. But I want to disabuse your mind. I will tell you that arguably 58 to 65% of Nigeria's GDP is what? Is linked to the informal economy. Who do we refer to as the informal economy? These are people who are doing business and are unregistered. Those people that are doing business, trading, yet they are unregistered. If 65% of your GDP be attributed to tells you that the local government in it and collect it well as a local government. So at the area of agriculture. And I will always say something, that as a local government administrator, the way you think should differ from the way a state administrator will think. Why? Because you are closest to the people and the impact that is made on environmental sustainability. An organization called IDIPR is an Ijebu initiative towards, okay, those that know them, they are already the Ijebus in the house. Well done, well done. So, but I must tell them well done, because I realized that that organization was able to do a turnover of 5.9 billion, almost 6 billion, from an agricultural village. What do you have in that agricultural village? Livestock, fishery, poultry, rubber. And it may interest you to note that the catfish accounted for 4 billion out of that 5. So it lets you know that if you can fund these people, if you can create the enabling environment. So what did IDIPR do? They just went, no, now it's your land, but allocate it to us. That's what our local government should be doing, providing this for the people. So the farmers go there and they apportion to them, and you can see how much they were able to do it economically, 5.9 billion. So now ask yourself, if every local government in Nigeria is doing that, what do you think they will contribute to the GDP of Nigeria? Food for thought. Another thing we should look at is recycling. As is here, when you are looking at in the last how many months, how many of you have taken notes that I am taking my bottle? No. The question is why? The commercial value. As a local government, they are a nuisance. You can convert them to your use, and you will be shocked at the revenue that will come out of that industry. The waste industry, the recycling by tech. I provide, I don't know if you've heard of recyclers, but I provide them payment facility. So you see all these people carrying wheelbarrows and everything. They get paid into an account. And guess what? It's a scan account. It's a QR account. The account is a standard account. Do you realize that the average Aboki you see on the road, if he doesn't have anything in his life, he has an NIN and he has a voter's card. How many of us know that? Do you realize that those people in the north are more politically aware than those of us down south? So it's not difficult to even open an account for them. So what we do is we open them an account just using their NIN, and they go with a QR card. They go to any agent, they tap and they collect their money and they are off. Let's move on. What else can you look at as a local government administrator? Empowerment and donations. They always say that to whom much is given, much is expected. So if you are giving some form of empowerment, there is an expectation from you. Now, apprenticeship and skill acquisition is one area that I believe governments should look at, local governments. We all know the Cosmas Maduka, we know the Ibsens and the rest of them. Do we realize that they started out without formal education? They started out straight. And along the line, what stands them out today is the fact that they were formalized their education along the line. And today you see Cosmas Maduka is the owner of Coscaris. Everybody knows Coscaris. If you drive a BMW and you don't know your BMW must be a fake. Putin is there. Putin is the first indigenous car manufacturer. We've had Peugeot in the past. We've had Volkswagen in the past. They were not indigenous, but this is indigenous. And I know we now have Nord that came after him. So what am I saying? The fact that these men were able to formalize their education, you can see the impact on the economy. If you are not able to educate people, people will live little. Imagine if Cosmas Maduka was not able to formalize his education, would he have the Cosmas group as today? He will probably have a very good business, doing very well, but you will not have what you have today. And the same thing goes to Innocent. Let me rush. Donations and grants. One of the things that shocked, apart from the close to 1 billion, apart from that money, the impact to do. People came from administrator of a local government. If your good work is seen, you will be shocked at the support you will get from the private sector and also internationally, within and without. Let's move forward. So I'll be talking on a framework that I believe that every local government administration should have at the Maslow says that the most important thing to an individual is survival, psychological needs, physiological needs, sorry. Food, water, shelter. When those things are solved, he moves to the next level, safety needs. He begins to think of job safety, security, financial security, legal security. So the person that was willing to do anything before, just to get food and shelter, right now begins to say, I can't take this bus. I can't take a truck to Lagos. I would rather take a bus. Why? Because there's now money that the people, and interestingly, do we realize that these are the people who also come out to vote? Do you realize, election day, we always have those people living in Lekki, we are roasting barbecue, whereas, so what does that tell you? The limitations to effective financial mobilization and the solutions. The first thing is political interference, godarism. You can take care of that to rely on the law. If you look, so we need to begin to pattern ourselves rightly. But local governments do, or some very important things that we need long term. And 3, budgeting. Last one is accountability. EU level will do that, administrators. So show love is by bringing out money. As a local government administrator who has people under him or her, your ability to show love is by you providing infrastructure in your local government. Thank you very much. As I leave with the last point, Taba Guyon sinu ewe, ta sebe sinu epo epa. Enima ayo. Thank you very much. If you don't know the meaning, Google it.
Mr. Michael, as you approach your seat, I hope you know you are still on the island. You are in Lekki, and I hope you are not on Twitter, because you mentioned that those in Lekki, they don't go out. You are still in Lekki. I hope before you go out, they will not be outside waiting for you and shouting Italawa. But I'm glad that we're able to learn a bit from what you have presented. Thank you so much for that. Excuse me. We'll move on our program for today, because we still have a couple of conversations to have today, and then we'll call it a day. But before we do that, we'd like to just ask that Greg Paul will come up for about 5 minutes thereabout for the presentation, after which we'll move on to the next major conversation to have today. Greg Paul, please can we have you as quickly as possible? Thank you. Round of applause for Greg Paul as the come.
Standing on the existing protocol, I say good afternoon, everyone. And as a well brought up, good afternoon, sirs, and good afternoon, man. And today, my name is Hayomide. I work with Ketpal, and I'm your new best friend today. And as the last speaker said, we show each other love. So as your new best friend, I show you love, and you show me love. Now, I needed to bring out your phone quickly. We are new best friends. We both agreed on that. And go to your Play Store or Apple Store if you're using iPhone, and please download the Ketpal app. While you do that, I'll quickly take you through what Ketpal is and what we do. Ketpal is a technological infrastructure company that gives credit to businesses and individuals, and we do this in 2 different ways. We do business credit and we do individual credit. For business credit, we offer working capital credit in amount as high as 25 million at a very, very minimal interest rate. We also offer inventory financing. That is, you own a provision store, and then there's no much funds to restock, to buy that Paleji, to buy that Hollandia. You don't need to go meet Alajo Shomon to give you number 1, right? Ketpal will give you that credit for you to restock your inventory. We also offer invoice financing, and this is to individuals that are into procurement. I know that those are in procurement. When you get your purchase order from companies, you don't get paid when you supply. So we give you the funds to supply, then you pay us back when the organization pay you back. Now for the individual credit, we do it in 2 forms. We offer credit card and we offer buy now pay later as a service. Now if you have an ATM like mine, like this is a debit card. Now a debit card only gives you access to the amount that you have in your own account. Say you have 100K, you only have 100,000 there. Now, with our credit card, we offer you this service plus a credit limit. So we give you a credit limit that you can always access at any time. So your credit limit is like an extra on your account. You can go there, take it out at any time, and also pay it back. And you have access to it every time you go back there. Now, for the buy now, pay later, we offer buy now, pay later as a service for merchants. So you are a vendor that sells food, and you have a lot of individuals that come to you to buy on credit. So instead of waiting for the day that they would have money to pay you back, we would give those customers credit to pay you. And we currently do this with diverse businesses in the country. We do that with not just phone and gadgets, individuals, which most of us would know. We currently partner with Jumia. If you go to your Jumia and you select an item, the moment you get to the checkout, the first option you see is to pay with your credit, with your debit card. However, the third option is pay with credit card. That is, whatever you buy from Jumia, credit card can pay on your behalf, then you pay us back much later. Our payment is quite flexible. We offer as much as 8 months in payment time. Currently, we've identified that businesses in the local communities are one of our target audience who actually need access to credit. And currently, we've partnered with Oyo State Hospital Board, where we serve the 58 medical facilities in Oyo State for our buy now pay later service. So every member of Oyo State Board currently buys gadgets, buys solar inverters, buy laptops. They buy if they are flight tickets through credit card app, and they get to pay us back on a monthly basis. I thank God that my local government chairman is currently seated here. I believe that we can also bring this to my local government, Onigbo local government, and also to every local government in Lagos State. So thank you very much, and we look forward to doing businesses with you. And has anyone downloaded the app? Amazing. I have a gift for those 2 people. Can you just give them a gift, please? For others, you can meet us outside. We'll give it to you. So thank you very much, and don't forget, I'm your best friend, and you're my new best friend, at least for today.
Truly, you are my latest best friend. Hey, keep the best friend gift for me after the session. All right, a round of applause for Craig Thomas. Excuse me, style. Oh, that's the gift. Thank you. Just send the pin over. All right. We're moving quickly in our conversations for today, and I hope we've been learning a thing or two so far from the conversations we've been having. Right about now, we'd like to go to another major presentation from the Embassy of the Netherlands, and we'd like to take this presentation because it is quite critical to the conversation we're having today. And what is the topic to be discussed or to be addressed? It is sustainable economic development and wealth creation at the local level. And to take us through this session, please let us welcome Dr. Natalie Benish, the CEO, Circular Economy Innovation Partnership. A round of applause for her as she comes off stage to deliver her presentation. Is that the best we can do to welcome her off stage?
I think I have some slides if they're ready. I'm actually, this is my first time interacting with the Nigeria Grassroots Governance Summit and Awards. I'm standing in for one of our partners, Okpeyemi Orinyowo from the Consulate General of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and he sits on the board of the Circular Business Platform, which I'm lucky enough to be executive secretary. Are there slides? No? Are they ready? Slides? Yep, that's us. All right. Okay, so moving on to the next one. just in terms of okay, 1 point. What we just want to go through today is a few points to explain what the circular business platform is, a little bit about what the circular economy is. That's the perspective I would be looking at. I only think about circular economy, so that's the perspective I would be looking at, local wealth creation. And how this concept is used to support local wealth creation, but also how its limitations. And then finally, looking at how we can even use it in other ways to support local wealth creation as well, or at the local level. And then I conclude with some final thoughts. So let's move on to the next slide. So as I mentioned, I represent an organization called the Circular Business Platform. This was an organization set up in 2022 with the support of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Nigeria and the Dutch Enterprise Support Center. And it emerged with a view that more private sector coordination is needed to build an ecosystem around the circular guarantee, various circular businesses, as well as promoting investment opportunity. Economy is often in Nigeria, it has to do with, and it's great to hear about the recycling in the last presentation, that it's very much about creating wealth at the local level. So moving on to circular economy with the term. So is it emerged out of a concern of environmental impacts in a much more efficient way, reuse materials in a much more impacts from consumption are much lower. Nevertheless, this is on like efficiency, so how to optimize systems and optimize how you use materials and support things like waste management and recycling, which is very, very, very important in Nigeria. And I think the other important aspect of circular economy that's important for Nigeria is that it's focused around value creation and wealth creation. So it's doing all these things from a perspective that how do we increase value? How do we create value, i.e. create wealth? So that's circular economy in a nutshell. Moving to the next one. So when we talk about circular economy in Nigeria, what's the first thing that we think about? Well, it's the concept of waste to wealth. Luckily with the, we've been working with the Consulate General of the Netherlands on a scoping mission across Nigeria, where we visited several states, including Abia, Anambra State, Abuja, Kano, Oyo, Ogun State, where we met with recyclers from kind of all walks of life. And if you see here, here's a picture from a waste, a dump site in, I believe that's in Anambra. And here's a recycler who has basically a printed guide for people who are collecting waste and depositing it, that they can collect points to get the waste. So no matter where we went in Nigeria, the point was very clear. When we talk about waste and managing waste, it has to be focused on creating value, creating economic opportunity for people who collect the waste. That's the only way we're going to get people to engage in this topic. So this is what we've seen, and we've seen it actually where the private sector and local governments, as well as the state government, work closely together. This works really, really well. So in Anambra, the sites that recyclers work on are provided with really the support of local governments. And this really allows a collection to happen and for value to be created from that waste. Okay, next one. But when we talk about waste to wealth, while it's important to focus on the economic opportunity and the money that can be created, we also need to recognize that there is infrastructure that's needed to support this. So it doesn't happen for free. You don't always just get, like, you collect materials and then get value from it. There's quite a bit of investment that you need. And here is an example of that kind of infrastructure. This is EcoBarter, who has developed a reverse vending machine, which is available there. I think there's about 20 of these units in Abuja right now, and I think there's deployment of these units in Lagos State as well. So when we're creating waste to wealth, the local government can really play a role is to show that they're supportive and can provide that infrastructure to make that happen. Next slide. Talk about and emphasize waste to wealth, and not really waste to wealth happening, informal workers on the dump site, waste that doesn't have value, that hasn't been collected, and the people who are collecting it are not, they're living really, they're surviving. It's not really producing wealth the way that we would want or expect it to. You need high volumes for that to happen. So recognizing some of the key issues that, for example, you need the local off-takers, you need the volume, you need some materials like cases, even though we promote economic opportunity. In the businesses that are structured, when you're working with local, working from just collecting and aggregating materials to working to process those materials and continually add value to those materials. And what's happened is that she's creating, the company itself is very, very well within a local area, really don't provide much more than just the jobs. They provide a lot of opportunity for institutionalization of strong, dynamic organizations. Okay. So what I presented, as I said, I'm here, local wealth creation. So if I was going to stand out and think about local wealth creation at the local level, there's three things I would really want to emphasize. And the first is obviously good governance. I've heard this a lot in the presentations before. So I think here what's important is governance that's really focused on the public good first, what the community needs, and focusing on delivering that, and being accountable to the people within a local area. And this is what's going to achieve sustainable wealth creation in the long term. The second is around the ease of doing business. Now, we often think of ease of doing business as being a concept that's, the federal level should be focused on. But at the end of the day, it's local governments who engage a lot with the small businesses, which are really the heartbeat of Nigeria's economy. And I personally think that if at the grassroots there's better interaction between businesses and local government, then you're able to kind of escalate and listen and develop opportunities for businesses that really support local growth. And also create opportunities for like strengthening ecosystems as well. And then finally, this was referenced, I think, earlier as well, is skills in education. I would emphasize organizations around developing the skills in local communities. Thank you.
I'm sure we can do it better. Let's put it together for Ms. Martin. Thank you. I want to please appreciate once again all the special guests, the board members, for staying true up until this very minute. We truly appreciate you. Thank you so much. We're gradually rounding up, but there is something, I don't know if any other person has noticed, that we've had arguably more women coming to make presentations than men on this podium. And that is to tell you that we respect and value the wealth of knowledge and their intellectual capacity, as well as what they also have to bring to the table. Meaning that for us, it is not about equality, it's about what you have to offer. Meaning that if you have what it takes, you should be given the opportunity to deliver. And so that is the Nigeria that Hope for the Masses Foundation and Niggsa indeed is propagating to the entire, people who are here, counselors, administrators, and whatever role you're playing, that it is not by gender, it is by your intellectual capacity. And so if you have that to deliver, of course, bring that to the table. Once again, let's put our hands together for everyone who has spoken on this podium today. A round of applause for them, please, if you can. Close, but we would presentation.
Like is that there should be 25 years, and in the course of my practice leader, and this meeting is about the grassroots, so I'll try as much as possible to bring it down to the grassroots level. My father wanted me to be a medical doctor, as is the case with every parent that time, and any child you have. The jam that just about then, World Health Organization said I was irritated, I was pissed off, and I'm like, you mean 80% of people having vision problems, going through this, that these problems can be met? I looked at the reason the World Health Organization gave. Number one among them was poverty, just like we have number one there. That because developing countries are very poor, their eyes, how to protect their eyes, how to preserve their vision, so as a result of that, they're losing their sight. He went on to talk about inequality and quite a number of reasons that were given. As an undergraduate then, I looked at the whole reasons that they gave. I just picked out one, which is lack of awareness. I picked out that because it also resonated with my faith as a Christian, where the Bible says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. So in my own little mind then, I just said, oh, that means if people are better aware, if people are told that they shouldn't do certain things about their eye health, or they should not put certain things into their eyes, their vision can be preserved. So I just started a campaign. The Health Organization and the International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness brought out another report, still on avoidable blindness. This time around, they said that they were going to eliminate that. It was everywhere, it was buzzing. I'm sure some of us, we've heard of Vision 2020 or 2020 Vision. Vision 2020, the right to sight. As I graduated too, I took that document. And since then, I have been doing all I should in different niches and sectors to provide information, to create awareness. Because when you know better, you will do better. So this afternoon, I'm going to talk briefly on avoidable blindness. I was sitting in my clinic one day, and a woman came in with her son. She was crying. The people around her too, they were crying. Even the boy too was crying. And I asked, what is the problem? And she told me, she said, the boy had red eyes. And her neighbor told her that, look, if you put potash in water and you put on the eye of this child, that redness is going to clear off. And she did. She did just that. She was putting potash on the eyes. Before you know it, the cornea, because the eye is a very sensitive organ, the cornea of the eye got eroded. It was when the child was no longer seeing, the redness was more complicated, they came to the clinic. And I looked at the boy, I looked at the mother, and I'm like, "Ma'am, why will you do that?" Lack of awareness. She didn't know. Another thing too Nigerians do is that we like to self-medicate. We like to ask our neighbor, we like to ask our families and friends what they are using, forgetting that you and even if you are twins, they are not exactly the same. Your eyes and my eyes are not exactly the same. And by so doing, we have done more harm than good to our eyes. I'll give you another example. I was also in the clinic one day, and a woman came in too with her son, with her daughter. The baby was just about 8 months or thereabouts. This woman is stark illiterate, uneducated, and when she came in, she spoke to me in pidgin and said, "Doctor, this is my pikin. If I breastfeed them, you know they look my face." I said, "Wow, really? How do you mean?" He said, doctor, You know, say, as I dey give the pikin breast, it's supposed to they look me. But you know they look me. I say, how you take no? Say, I had a child before, and I know that anytime I'm breastfeeding that child, that the child is able to look at me. You know, in optometry, we call that following. When you give birth to a child, the child may not be able to see as you see, but there are certain developmental stages of vision that the child will go through. So normally for an 8-month-old baby, if you maybe make a sound, the child can turn to look at that sound. If you flicker something, the child will call it following. So when a mother is breastfeeding, the child will naturally look at the face of the mother, sometimes smile or wiggle. Or this woman said, "Doctor, I know they noticed that kind of thing for my baby." I said, "Oh, really? Fantastic. That is good. You are a very observant mother. Let me look at your child." I looked at that child. That child was born with congenital cataract. The baby actually was not seeing. But this woman, illiterate, stark, nothing, she was able to detect on time that there was something fundamentally wrong with the eyes of her baby and brought the baby to the hospital. She did not go to her neighbors, but came to the hospital, and guess what? The baby's eyes was saved. We were able to, treat, and then, the mother and the baby, they were okay eventually. So contrast these two stories. Sometimes I've also come to realize that it's not about the level of education of people. Some people, they can have the highest degree, but their level of reasoning, the way they access to process information is even much more different than someone, who did not go to school. So I'm here to just, within the short time I have, to just encourage every one of us that blindness is preventable. Visual impairment is preventable. If we can all do the needful, I tell you, we can make Nigeria a better place. And this also brings me to the concept of, the people living with disability that came out today. As much as they actually say living with disability, but they are people with special abilities. Some cases we are also saying, they were not on the program. Yes, he's visually impaired, but he is the director of programs. And when you are listening to him on radio, you will not even know that such a thing is happening. We can do. And I want to encourage everyone, not just ourselves, but the generation coming. I tell you that life will be much, much better. And many of the causes of avoidable blindness in Nigeria, the first one among them, the next one, so that your eyes can be checked. So don't say you have not heard. You have heard now itself. There are many parts about your eye you don't understand. And eye care is not only about glasses. Eye care, eye health is more than just glasses. Many of us do equate eye health or eye care with just glasses. No. In my clinic, for example, when you come in, we look at the relationship between your eye, your brain, and your entire body. And then we can advise you on how best you can maintain your vision so that you can see very well into old age.
Thank you very much, Dr. Imade. We truly appreciate you. Thank you. All right, she's still very much available. She's still very much available. She's still around. So if you have questions for her, you can go to her. I'm sure she's doing this on behalf of Niggsa. She's going to be having free. I mean, when you are chatting with her, it's more like giving you free consultation. So she's going to do that for you today. And also, she also provided free eye test, for anyone who wants to take advantage of that. I think that deserves a round of applause. Let's put our hands together. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Your bald head will go and put corn inside water and speak in tongues for 2 hours and think it will work. May God allow you to avoid blindness. I didn't hear an amen. I know it's not a religious setting, but please do what is needful. I'd like to quickly ask that if there is anybody here who came with a Toyota Camry, sky blue in color with number plates KTU 261FN. Toyota Camry, sky blue, KTU 261FN. We intentionally added the color because some of us don't even know our cars by the number plates. Right or right? I love this brother. He says, sure. When they're asking me, I show road safety, but I know the color of my car. All right, but please, if that's your car, kindly step out and help attend to it because you're blocking one of our dignitaries who is also having an appointment elsewhere and needs to leave as soon as possible. All right. In case you have been here from the very beginning, and even if you joined in the course of the conversation, I can tell that you did not hear everything that was said. Hence the need for you to please go back to YouTube and search for Niggsa and listen to these conversations again and again and make them reference point, especially for the panel session that we had, so that we can have better understanding. Please also follow us and like that page and click on the notification button so that every time we come up with new content, you can always see what we are doing. Right about now, Royal Majesty, His Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming for another session, and this session is basically talking about educational interventions. And to deliver this particular speech to us today is no other but an erudite speaker who is the special advisor to the Executive Governor of Kwara State on Education Policy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Should I take us back to the classroom? You're all looking all sleepy. All right, let's all get up. Let's exercise a bit. Come on. All right, everyone, get up, get up. The applause has too long. Get up now. First of all, I said, let me make sure I am here to around building capacity, driving, so I've done something like reverse. And human beings from, and I was like, I wish I was here yesterday. I actually was slated to be here yesterday, but I just came back from a conference in the UK at Cambridge. And it's also around this work that we're doing in the field for our students. In fact, as I was sitting down there, I was listening to the work that they're doing in Oman, Rwanda, Kenya. I just kept holding their hand and saying, please, I need you to come and help me to do this work in Kwara State. So that when I do it in Kwara State, other states will say, okay, how can we also copy from these examples? Sorry, yeah, there we go. She was talking about eyesight. And when you were talking about eyesight, I'm just going to segue real briefly. Blood. So I ran to, I don't like to call them problems, solving challenges. That's what happened to me, and I'm still utilizing it today. So I was listening to you, I was like, Then the second part of what you shared that was about eyesight, and we don't understand how precious our health is until something happens. People like you, who, when you said you said you had a PhD in public health, I said key. So I really also said I have to give it to you too. Thank you so much. And I hope everyone will go to go and see you at your booth. I'll come to see you and take a picture with you because your work is important. Yes, it's really, which is building capacity and driving sustainability, a new era for grassroots leadership and development. Like I told you, my Yoruba is really, really bad, but I'm going to attempt to say this proverb because it's really important. It says, Igi can, don't laugh yet, don't worry, I'm going to finish laughing very soon. So pretty much what he's trying to say, because I butchered that, I know. My media aide even told me, it's like, oh man, do you really want to attempt to say it? I said yes, because it's too important. And what it's trying to say is that a single tree does not make a forest. And I'm reminded about that anytime I think about the work that we do in the grassroots. Each of us has to collectively, we all have to come together and do something. That's how we create a forest. So when I think about all the people who have come up here to speak in different sectors, we're all together trying to make a forest. I'm going to be very plain, and this is why I said that I want to reverse from the bottom to the top. A lot of times when we talk about governance in Nigeria, it's always from the top that we're always discussing about it. We forget how important the quote-unquote bottom is. We sit down here at conferences, and we craft policies. And these policies are far removed from what is taking place in our communities. Yet, if we realize the future of Nigeria is not really in Abuja, the future of Nigeria is really at our local governments. The future of Nigeria are in our classrooms. Classrooms in the primary schools, classrooms in the secondary schools. In fact, something remarkable happened. I'm going to say that before I continue with this. When I was at Cambridge, I'm trying to remember what country it was right now. No, I don't think it was Ghana. I think it was Malawi. Either Malawi or Zimbabwe. People like me were sitting there, came from their own countries. But this nation actually brought a teacher. A teacher came with us to come sit down there at this conference to talk about what was happening in her classroom, and so that the people there at Cambridge who are supposed to assist us can now talk about, okay, we've heard what you're saying, how do we now come in to assist? And I just remember sitting there when I looked at that teacher. I think they said she was a history teacher. I just kept thinking to myself, what if every single time we had conferences, particularly in my own area, in education, we have those teachers, the people who are actually in the front line with the children, with the parents. What if we had them at those conferences? And every time I now have conferences, he'll tell you, I always make sure that I have teachers there. And the students themselves. Because there's something about them right there telling you where they're coming from. And I remember when she was telling me about this, immediately I said, how can we connect you to councillors in the local governments? How could we connect you to chairman in the local government? That was my own belief. How could we connect you to vice chairman? She can tell you. I told her that immediately. Because that's where the real work is. It is not at Abuja. It is not in my places like my offices. My own office, you come and sit down there and engage with us. Then we now put heads together. That's what happens. And that's what needs to happen. So when I saw, I don't remember clearly, it was Malawi or Zimbabwe. But anyway, when I saw that teacher, I was like, wow, this is what everybody should be doing. And it was a challenge to me to that, how can we make sure that this happens all the time? So I want us to just remember that that's where the real magic happens. The real magic happens there. As someone who has spent her life in the intersection of education, technology, and policy, I can tell you that human capital is the bedrock of every thriving society. We cannot talk about grassroots governance without talking about education. I like that she even mentioned that too. And the circular lady also touched on education too. Like I said, education is in the middle of every single thing that we do. I mean, I tell people all the time that when you are older, you don't talk about your first house or that first car. It's always that first teacher. And hopefully it's a good teacher. Because I said hopefully, because sometimes it's also a bad teacher you talk about. That my teacher, she was very wicked, she was this. Everybody always remembers those teachers, those first teachers. Primary school, everybody. I don't care whether they're 80 years old or 90 years old. So education, yes, education is the intersection of everything. So I don't want us to reduce capital, when we say capacity building, I don't want us to just always talk about it, something that, okay, capacity building. It should be meaningful to us. It should mean equipping the local leaders with tools to be able to think boldly, act strategically, and also govern with integrity. And like I just mentioned before, the councillors, market women are also leaders on grassroots. I hope we all know. Our youth leaders, and of course you, our big uncles here too, our traditional leaders. It means embracing innovation, not as an imported luxury, but as a local necessity. I want us to imagine worlds where school performances are monitored with simple data, where farmers are able to access market prices via their phones, mobile apps, and where youth councils draft budgets that have to do with people coming together and having programs that will benefit their communities. These things are not fiction, they are possible, and they can happen now, and they do happen in some places. Sustainability begins when people take ownership. We build systems that outlive political cycles. These are systems rooted in values, local knowledge, and inclusive participation. Whether it's waste management, something that I've been seeing us talk about a lot on Twitter, or we call it X now. Climate resilience, like the circular economy lady has spoken about. Education or healthcare, like she mentioned. We must design for the long term. And that means listening and meeting the needs of each community as per demand. It also means elevating the quiet voices in our communities. The women. Women are very important in our communities. They are physically challenged, I don't like calling them disabled. Our physically challenged folks, our young ones, our youth, letting everybody's ideas, experience, shape our path forward. To every leader in this room, I want to challenge you to become radical listeners, because that's something I'm also learning to do myself. I want you to also become courageous implementers. I'm also learning how to push that too, constantly. Yes. And I want us to design governance with empathy, evidence, and with equity. I want us to build thinkers, and I want us to shape tomorrow. In conclusion, I want us to remember that we're building capacity not to govern, but to serve. We're serving people. I want us to think about driving sustainability, not just for today, but for generations to come. I was thinking about someone who I spoke to, I think it was yesterday when I was either at the airport or maybe I was at home, on my way home, and he was telling me about his great-great-grandma, who was 120 years old when she passed. And I just kept marveling at all the stories that he told me his great-grandma had shared with him. And I just kept thinking in my head, great-great-grandma. So that's two greats. I kept thinking about, and he said his grandma was still around when that great-great-grandma went, and how little he was when she passed. And I just kept thinking about what that great-great-grandma must have seen, the experiences she must have had, the stories that she could have shared with us, and how she was passing down things to them without them realizing that she was passing them down. And all I could think about was the word legacy over and over and over. And I think I mentioned it to him too when he and I were speaking. I want us to think about those generations, because that's what he is. He's one of her generations, that great-great-grandma. I want us to lead from the grassroots, because like I said, that is where the heart of this nation is. I want to thank you once again for all making sure that you came to participate in a program like this. A lot of people, when they hear about grassroots, it's very easy to just dismiss, but you all understood how critical this is, particularly my fellow peers and of course big uncles here, who made sure that they came to also participate and elevate this summit. I want to thank you for understanding how important this is. I want to charge all of us to remember, like I said, it takes more than one tree to build a forest. Thank you very much.
Yes, it's been a full day and we are quite excited. There is absolutely nothing in our status report for last year, Niggsa 2024, that hasn't been discussed here today. Last year, at the end of our summit, we prepared what we called a status report. And I remember that we took that to KBC. Some of the issues that we saw in the communities that we visited, we had to put them down. We brought speakers to talk about them. This year, we've done justice to all of these conversations. I want to say thank you to all of you for participating as well. We encourage that we all go home with these knowledge. We all go to our various local governments with these knowledge, and we all pass the message of governance, what governance should actually look like, to all the respective chairmen that are represented here today. You may not be part of the conversation from the beginning. I know that some local governments came late. Okaguda came sometime later. Itirekate came sometime later. Onigbongo came sometime later. So I want to encourage every single person, that came here today to please go back to the YouTube channel. Watch the conversation from the beginning to the end. Yesterday was streamed live. Today, it's still being streamed as I speak. Watch these conversations. Get pen and paper and put something down. It's not about me. It's not about the people that organize this. It's not about our board. It's not about our speakers, but it's about the lives of the people that we can touch. I want to thank our speakers for all being here today. I want to thank every single participant for participating. I want to thank the people of Onisiwo and Sabo Koji. Kabiyesi, they had to cross with a boat because no road leads to their community. No boat, no road. They have no road. These communities also have no potable water. There is no water to bath or to cook or to wash. They have neither. But today, it was a simple text message to the secretary to tell Bale that we needed them to be here to be part of this conversation. Because there's some of the communities inspiring us to do this. And they came fully loaded, 2 Bales, and the secretary and team from the villages. We appreciate you, because I know my team members, when they came to your village the last time, one of them told me it's never following me again. Again. Because we knew how many hours we had to be on water for. But I guess you guys are used to it already. But we promise that we will deliver on what we promised to you. We will deliver. God will help us to do that. Thank you so much to the people of Sabo Project. I want to specially thank our board members led by Kabiyesi. Kabiyesi, we appreciate you. We know that it couldn't have been easy for you to sit here today. You had to take a meeting even during the summit. But we appreciate your commitment to grassroots governance and development in Nigeria. And we must say thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We really do appreciate what you've done for us. Your time, we do not take it for granted. Dr. Joe Abba, thank you. But especially, we're going to thank you in the evening. So I want to say thank you. I hope you've enjoyed these conversations. I hope that some of them will reflect in the PhD class for later. So they know that. And I think I should begin to solicit for a PhD without reading rights, because I don't want to read the book, but I want the PhD. I don't know how. I just expect to have it somehow. Because everybody that I admire, they all have this ability to read. And I think I'm tired of reading. I want to thank all of our partners for being here. Chronicles just gave us about 1,000 units of success box. Please let me appreciate the CEO of Chronicles. Chronicles Development Company, Software Development, Chronicles Software Development Company Limited. I used to work for them a couple of years back. And when we started this journey, I dragged the CEO. And I was telling him today that we have students in our communities who need these things. They are not passing WAEC, they are not passing JAM. And so they have to repeat, do GC. I mean, when politicians say they are giving out GC forms, it baffles me. Because usually there are people who have done it twice that are collecting again. But this time around, Chronicles is providing us free past questions for at least 15 years of JAM, 20 years of WAEC. The private institutions, all those private, expensive private institutions, used to collect for their own pupils and practice with. That's why you hear that a school like Deepa, they always got 330 something in JAM, 340 something in. That is where it comes from. The secret is Success Boss. So Success Boss just gave us about 1,000 units, and we really do appreciate, free of charge. We really do appreciate you. Our communities will benefit. I'm not writing another JAM, so, and I don't have a child writing JAM at the moment, so our communities will appreciate, will benefit from that. Our other board members, thank you so much for spending time with us here. We'll see you later. Of course, we know we'll see later today. But I want to thank everybody for being here today. God bless you. Thank you for your time. We hope to see you at Niggsa 3.0, which is going to be sometime soon. I don't know when the board will give the leave for us to do that again. But thank you so much. God bless you all. God bless Lagos. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We can rise up for the national anthem.
Try
bless you all. Have a good evening.